Hello, YouTube. So, yes, you can tell by title, as it says, I hate Goblin Slayer. I downright despise it. It's a disgusting show. I'm sorry, but brutally hate it. I brutally do, for many accounts and reasons. Let's begin explaining, I guess, to the best of my ability. Still, the best, yeah. Okay, so where to begin? I would say my best explanation for why I really dislike, well, Demon Slayer is first off, its consumption on the internet. As in, seriously, if I look up the word Goblin on YouTube or on Google, on anywhere, you will always run into Goblin Slayer this, Goblin Slayer that. It's like, okay, this is getting a bit ridiculous. And you know what? It's not a big deal really when a franchise gets really popular and people love it. And when you set up a certain word to find it, like the word goblin, it would be a common thing really. But my problem is the theme that they go with, and how far they take it, and how it's really it's. I actually like goblins as characters. I play them in D&D as my favorite character choice, really, alongside undead and more unusual types. Usually undead, it's understandable, but with goblins, it's like, depending on the lore of the world, like if you look at Lord of the Rings, I mean, they were created by evil magic, so a bit more understandable. But another problem for me, really, with the whole thing of, like, goblins just being really they're overused as main enemy villains or monsters in games and shows in general. Like I like World of Warcraft because they have the uniqueness of goblins, and actually, really, the goblins were the victims in that scenario when you first introduced them as a playable character. Really, the whole scenario of how they joined Horde really was they were the victims in that scenario because the humans went and attacked them first, and so that's why I usually like playing Horde goblins. Anyway, that nonsense aside, with the how they present goblins, like in the very first show episode, they do some very disturbing stuff that's mature. I'm not going to explain it because I got off the episode right afterwards. I never watched Goblin Slayer again, but my problem is how consuming it is on the internet. Let's just say they did something they shouldn't have, and this should. The Goblin Slayer, the main character guy, the guy in the big suit of armor, goes and save the last survivor of the group. Now, here's where it gets awesome, in my opinion. Still, when you look at that, really awesome. Let's just say down more. Yes, that's the oxen. That's the oxen. Det var som kan material do que suas ordem e depois nessa não fazia na esquerda é sobre olha essa oxidona não faz nem você usa dele wow. Alright, so where was I of my train of thought? Sorry, my mind went blank because I was like, how to explain? Right. So he saves the day, then they get deep into the cave and find baby goblins. As in freshly newborn goblins. And he kills them! I'm like, wait! Okay. I went and saw this like as a side clip on YouTube at some point, and I'm like, okay, killing adult ones that can't change, really, that's a bit more understandable. But killing babies? Okay, that is out of line for any race. I'm sorry, but that is far out of line. And I don't care what excuse the guy had. That is no excuse to kill children. That's like saying, hey, now I'm allowed to go and kill your baby if you were evil. Would you like it if I did that, huh? Or anyone in general? Raise your hands if you would be okay with me killing an innocent baby that's parents were evil. No? Yes, Mike Buzz, please not jump into this. Thank you. Glitch. The games of reality and how people manipulate things just to get away with what they want. It is very interesting to see. It's always painful. Glitched. Alright, so what else was there? Right, how they present goblins. Like, they really, I'm not surprised by it that much, right? But really, if you go and look at shows like Slime, like the guy who was transported into a world as a slime, they actually execute goblins very well, in my opinion. That's all they've known all their life, really, being goblins, having to steal and all of that to survive. So that's why I like really goblins in that category, only knowing what they do to survive, because that's how what some of the situations are, really. It just depends on the world you're in, really. And really, the overused concept of goblins always being evil bothers me a lot, and really, I'm just really tired of it. And yeah, just a little nag in general. Now, another problem with Goblin Slayer is how frequently they use, like I've heard and seen art when trying to look up regular Goblin stuff. When I try to look up the word Goblin, I see Goblin Slayer. I can't look up regular Goblin art without running into Goblin Slayer anymore. It's like, are you kidding me? Can I just look at artwork or read a story about goblins that ain't about Goblin Slayer? I'm sorry, but it annoys me a little bit, and how frequent it is. Not only that, there's an anime that does that as well, like a human boy that's apparently a goblin. I'm like, from an anime or live action Japanese show, I don't know. I'm really just annoyed with that concept as well. It's like, yes, that's not a goblin. You don't have to. It just annoys me a little bit. Now, this is really I'm just nagging because I am sick of seeing Goblin Slayer so much. I do not hate the people who like it. You can like it if you want. I'm just so tired of seeing it. Look, that fan. Oh, that's we name that thing. More people else knows that I felt stop. You know, see what I said. And anyway, with how the show is, it's very interesting in its own unique ways, but also a bit annoying. And really, I don't watch it at all. I just see it pop up. But the frequency, not only that, it's one of those shows where basically a lot of girls after the Goblin Slayer guy, one of those anime types. It's like, okay, that's really getting old for me. I'm like, can we take a break from it, please? Okay, so what else is there that I want to think about? Right. When looking up, like, trying to find some many cool stories of different archetypes with goblins, uh, I actually like looking up stories where a goblin has a little bit of romance and all that. Can't run into that without seeing Goblin Slayer either. Like, I want to see a goblin love story, not a thinking killer of goblins. Goblins having his own happy love life while he slaughters children. I'm sorry, but I can't get over that fact the way that he killed babies, freshly born babies. That is just something I cannot justify, no matter what the reason is. And it is just so messed up. Like, it doesn't matter what the race is, you have no reason to kill babies. Just take the stinking babies with you, and maybe give them to an orphanage where they can be raised to be better. Because they're stinking babies. I don't care what stinking reasons there are, they can be taught to be better. And what else is there? Right. I'm trying to think of what else there is about Goblin Slayer. Of how he knows so much how to slay goblins and how he's managed to spy on them, find out their weak points, how they behave, how they do things. Like, I'm like, okay, how does that make? How have you not gotten caught for one of how heavy armor you wear and how you never take it off? Two, why do women? I'm sorry, but they make the way I think they do it really with him having all these girls after him annoys me. Like, it's a really overused concept. Can you just like have like normal love stories in anime? Basically, they actually just generally fall in love with each other and all of that, and have a relationship grow, a few bumps in the road, but gets back up fine. Anyway, now another detail that bothers me is that there's no female goblins. I'm like, wait a minute, you're saying they don't? basically the way they reproduce is something harsh to other people's races of females. Apparently, when having done it with it, basically they can't have half breeds or a race. Yeah, they take it to that level. And it's like, okay, one, I don't care what your excuse is, but here is no stinking way that should be possible genetically. I'm sorry, but no, not possible. Not possible by science, not possible by reasoning, not possible by any logical terminology. I don't care what kind of logic you try and use as an excuse, that should not be possible. Still, all I need to get. Infield passou sua caminho. Seria minha. Não sei. And really, this is all about nagging at Goblin's legs. That's what all I want to do at this point. I want to nag, and nag at them. Because I'm like, okay, you know what? It's about time someone put you down. Because enough is enough at some points. And it's like, the Goblin Slayer has gone too far, in my opinion. It's gone too far. Like Lord of the Rings. That's a good story and it has some impressive reasoning and actually some good story building. And really, it's not about how the chances of goblins of being good and all of that. Yeah, it's not really about them. But when it's all about someone who slays goblins, you'd think there'd be at least one goblin character that maybe is like not like the rest. That may be good potentially. Do I see that anywhere? Nope. So, what else is there? And if you hear my mother's voice, I apologize. People get in the background sometimes. Oh boy. Alright, so with the whole nagging nonsense of Goblin Slayer, basically he just slays goblins, slays, and doesn't care about the consequences of his actions. Because really, I feel like he doesn't care about the fact that goblins. I get it, you don't want to become powerful and dangerous to hurt the people. That's understandable in some ways. But the other thing is, you just, I just really hate Goblin Slayer. I can't tolerate him. I'm sick of him being on the internet. I seriously want to burn the stinking comics. I want to, no, the mangas. Burn the mangas. Erase the show from existence. Erase it from everyone's memories and make sure the creator never ever put a stinking pencil on a piece of paper again. I despise the show with every fiber of my being. I don't despise the creator. I just think his choices in this thing are stupid. I hate the show, not the creator. I don't hate the fandom. I hate the show and the manga. Especially with the manga, they probably took it way farther because really that's what happens to anime manga. They take it way farther. I want to know how much farther they take it. And not only that, it's like they don't even give proper names to characters in their world. Like they give him Goblin Slayer. That's his name. His actual name of the Goblin Slayer is Goblin Slayer. High Elf Archer is the actual name. High Elf Archer. Now I had to put in controversy when I try and set up stories on goblins and elves, because I would like to see a story actually interacting with goblins and elves, like weird, unique scenarios, like generally interacting. Can't find that anymore of those stinking two characters being shipped because like you would find Goblin Slayer X the High Elf Archer so often it like pops up and like, oh, you're trying to search for this, not like actual goblins and elves. Elves in general, you're trying to look up Goblin Slayer X High Elf Archer. I'm like, no, I'm not, stupid Google. I'm trying to look up stories about goblins and elves interacting, not about stupid Goblin Slayer garbage. I'm sorry, but Goblin Slayer is garbage to me, and it should bug. Now, yeah, I think that's all I really want to nag about, and this is just my opinion, my feeling about it throughout my bad experiences with how it is, and you don't have to agree, but I don't like it, and I never will. It should bug. This is Crazy Boy ending his tape recording.